Hello and welcome to News Cycle on Global Television, everyone. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo, coming to you live from the nation's capital. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now the news in full. The Nigerian Labour Congress, that is NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, TUC, say they will stage a peaceful solidarity rally on February 3 in support of the Union Action Committee, that is JUAC. The unions announced this in a joint statement signed by Benson Opa, General Secretary of the NLC, and Nunu Toro, Secretary General of the TUC in Abuja. The statement said the solidarity is in support of the strike by Federal Capital Territory workers led by JUAC over unpaid salaries. The ongoing strike by the Joint Health Sector Union has entered the third day, crippling activities in government-owned hospitals across Nigeria, leaving patients stranded and forcing many to seek essential services outside public health facilities. Now it is third month, the industrial action has granted critical services, particularly in health pharmacies, laboratories, and other support departments, significantly disrupting healthcare delivery. While the industrial action has severely disrupted federal health institutions, health workers in state-owned hospitals in Ekiti, Benue State have largely remained on duty, mitigating the impact of patients. Former National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, and former Governor of Kano State, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, has congratulated the Executive Governor of Kano State, Abba Yusuf, and the Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Barau Jibrin, on their respective honors at the 2025 Sun Newspaper Awards. In a statement, Dr. Ganduje described Governor Yusuf's recognition as the Sun Newspaper Governor of the Year 2025 as well-deserved, noting that it reflects commitments to good governance, courageous leadership, and people-centered policy amid improving the welfare of Kano residents. He said the award underscored the growing national recognition of Kano State's strides in governance and development. Dr. Ganduje also congratulated Senator Barau Jibrin on receiving the Sun Newspaper Humanitarian Award 2025, describing the honor as a fitting acknowledgement of his compassion for the less privileged and his dedication to uplifting lives through impactful humanitarian interventions and selfless service to humanity. He commended the Sun Newspaper for sustaining its tradition of celebrating excellence, leadership, and service to society, while wishing both award recipients continued success in their respective roles and greater contributions to the development of Kano State and the nations at large. President Bola Tinubu says no action can thrive without deliberate investment in its youth, speaking at the 24th convocation and 43rd Founders Day of the Federal University of Technology in Minna, Niger State. President Tinubu stressed that Nigerians should not be denied quality education due to financial constraints. Represented by the Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Said Ahmad, the President lauded the institution's 43-year history as a center of excellence in science, engineering, innovation, and applied research. Meanwhile, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has urged Nigerian youths to use the ongoing national reform to upskill their skills. Idris said this while delivering this year's convocation lecture titled Youth and Nation Building, Navigating Opportunities in an Era of National Reforms, at the 34th convocation ceremony of the Federal University of Technology, Minna, Niger State. The minister described them as critical pathways for personal growth and nation building. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has urged the chairman and members of the National Assembly Service Commission to ensure federal character is reflected in the activities of the commission. Senator Akpabio made the call when the chairman and other members of the 6th National Assembly Service Commission visited his office. The Senate President congratulated them on their appointments and expressed the confidence that with their experiences and maturity, they would deliver on their mandate. The Nigerian Police Fund Pension Limited says it has paid 75.5 billion naira retirement benefits to 30,370 retirees. Acting Managing Director Abdulkarim Gazewa said death benefits amounting to 39.57 billion naira has been paid to 8,847 next of kin, while 25,572 retirees are currently receiving monthly pensions valued at over 1.56 billion naira. Speaking at the 2026 pre-retirement seminar organized by Nigerian Police Fund Pensions Limited in Lagos, he reaffirmed the organization's commitment to ensuring the timely and efficient payment of pensions and other entitlements to retired police officers. In another development, the Lagos state government has disbursed over 1 billion naira as accrued pension rights to about 543 retirees under the contributory pension scheme, reaffirming its commitment to the welfare and financial security of retired public servants. The payment was announced at the 113th Retirement Benefit Bond Certificate presentation held at the Adeyemi Bero Auditorium, Alausa in Lagos. Delivering a goodwill message, the head of service, Olubode Ogoro, said the regular retirement of retired benefit was not merely a policy choice, but a pledge the state had continued to honor in recognition of the service rendered by public servants. Unless the National Assembly concludes its work on the amendment of the Electoral Act within 3 weeks and get President Bola Tinubu to assent immediately, the 2027 election may be postponed or conducted with the 2022 electoral law. A fresh anxiety over the fate of the 2027 general elections heightened over the weekend following Thursday's decision of the House of Representatives to step down considerations of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. This was amid concerns by opposition parties and civil society organizations that delays by the National Assembly could disrupt the country's tightly regulated electoral timetable. The African Democratic Congress, that is ADC, has inaugurated a 50-member Wise Men and Women Policy and Manifesto Committee in Abuja. The committee is charged with the responsibility of developing people-oriented policies aimed at addressing critical national challenges, including poverty, hunger, and economic hardship. Political correspondent Ubong Usoro reports.
The committee was constituted following the approval of the National Working Committee, NWC, and the endorsements of the national chairman of the party, Senator David Mark, in furtherance of ADC's commitment to building a credible, people-centered, and forward-looking policy framework for national governance. Speaking at the inauguration, Senator David Mark charged members of the committee to come up with practical and implementable ideas capable of moving Nigeria forward.
What Nigerians therefore desperately looking for are credible alternative ideas, actions, and policies. They want policies that would improve their lives today and lay a solid foundation on which they can improve their future.
The Policy and Manifesto Committee is made up of Nigerians drawn from diverse sectors, including former public office holders, academics, technocrats, policy experts, civil society leaders, and other professionals. The committee is chaired by Chief John Odege Oyegu, with Professor Pat Utomi serving as deputy chairman, while Salisu Lukman, its secretary. In his remarks, the chairman of the committee, Chief John Oyegu, assured party members and Nigerians that the committee would deliver a policy document that reflects the aspiration of the people and responds to the realities of the Nigerian state.
Remember, the emperors that govern us, they usually come out with their own programs immediately. Even their programs they don't faithfully execute. Because the reality today is that we are in a contractor-governed nation.
With the inauguration of the Policy and Manifesto Committee, the African Democratic Congress says it is positioning itself as a party driven by ideas, competence, and solutions. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News.
Well, thank you, Usoro. Now to the next story, where normal activities resumed at the Onitsha main market today as traders and shop owners opened their shops for business. Last Monday, the Anambra State Governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, ordered the closure of the Onitsha main market for 1 week, following traders' failure to comply with the state government's directive to disregard the Monday sit-at-home order. The governor issued the directive during an ongoing visit to the market, accompanied by some of these aides and other government officials. Soludo warned that the closure could be extended if traders fail to comply, adding that security agencies had sealed the market to enforce the order. You're watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. News Cycle continues after this weather report plus business, foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Let's take a quick look at what the weather has in store as we head into Tuesday. If you are in the north central region, keep an eye on the skies. We are seeing a good influx of moisture, so expect a partly cloudy conditions through the day. And by afternoon, yes, those clouds will start to build up. Some areas of the Federal Capital Territory, Niger, Nasarawa, and Benue State may hear a few rumbles of thunder, mostly without rain. Kogi and Kwara State, only a slim chance of thunderstorms, but still worth watching out for. Now, heading down south, there's where things get more active as residents of Oyo, Ogun, Oshun, Imo, Ondo, and most cities over the coastal areas should prepare for thunderstorms, especially later in the day. Well, up north, it's simple and dry, plenty of sunshine and rising temperatures. So stay cool and stay hydrated. And that's your weather update. Wherever you are, stay weather ready. I am Akami Samarda, and thank you for watching.
Welcome back from that break. Now let's take you to the world of business, where the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation says the total amount disbursed to state government and the Federal Capital Territory as financial support for infrastructure and security projects has increased to 2.45 trillion naira. The office revealed this in an official record, noting that the amount disbursed between March 2024 and August 2025, which spanned over 17 months, was aimed at bolstering infrastructure development and strengthening security operations at a subnational level. This is part of ongoing efforts to address widespread insecurity and bridge critical infrastructural gaps across the country. Petroleum product marketers says the only way to shield Nigerians from the shock of a sudden surge in petrol prices is for the federal government to sell crude oil to Dangote Petrol Refinery and other local refineries at subsidized rates. The marketers therefore urge the federal government to sell crude oil to domestic refiners with a subsidy to prevent a sharp increase in petrol price. In particular, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria appealed to President Bola Tinubu to consider subsidizing crude prices while also extending the Naira for crude deal to other modular refineries operating in the country. The managing director of operations at the World Bank, Anna Mjede, is in Nigeria for a 3-day visit to deepen engagement on accelerating economic growth and job creation. In a statement issued, the World Bank said the visit scheduled for February 1st, 2026 will focus on how the World Bank Group can best support Nigeria's reform agenda, with consultations feeding into its forthcoming country partnership framework for Nigeria. According to the bank, the new strategy places jobs, energy access, and private sector-led growth at the center of Nigeria's development priorities. And on the foreign scene, the United Nations World Food Programme, that's WFP, says it's calling up to deliver life-saving food assistance to reach 450 people affected by the country's worst flooding decades. Months after Mozambicans recovered from the worst drought in its recent history, development experts says the situation has compounded an already fragile humanitarian situation. Zarau Nasir reports.
Severe flooding in central and southern Mozambique has impacted nearly 700,000 people, forcing over 100,000 into temporary accommodation centers, submerging farmland areas, and cutting off hundreds of thousands of families from food and critical services. Around 1,500 kilometers of roads are now impassable, disrupting key supply routes and isolating vulnerable groups. World Food Programme is using specialized amphibious vehicles, boats, heavy-duty trucks, fixed-wing aircraft, and helicopters to reach the infected communities with food and nutrition assistance.
WFP has been here also from day one supporting the government's efforts, and the food is reaching people in very difficult to reach areas. We're using all means possible to do so, including amphibious vehicles.
The flooding crisis comes as Mozambique continues to grapple with a protracted conflict in the north, where 9 years of armed insurgency have displaced hundreds of thousands of people. Zahra Nasir, reporting for Global TV.
Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi has reiterated his commitment to inclusive and peaceful dialogue among all citizens of Democratic Republic of Congo, stressing that national unity remains essential as conflict persists in the east of the country. He made the remark during a New Year address to the diplomatic corps in Kinshasa amid ongoing clashes between government forces and Rwanda-backed M23 rebels, while backing the idea of an inter-Congolese national dialogue also promoted by Angola's President João Lourenço. Tshisekedi set a condition for its implementation. The Cuban government has rejected accusations that it poses a threat to the security of the United States, insisting that it stands ready to cooperate with Washington. The Cuban Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued a statement calling for dialogue and stressing that the Caribbean island does not support terrorism. The declaration comes amid a spike in tension after the abduction of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro last month, which was part of President Donald Trump's drive for U.S. domination of the Western Hemisphere. Iran has declared the armed forces of European Union member states as terrorist groups in retaliatory move. This after EU Foreign Minister agreed to designate Tehran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, as a terrorist organization. The announcement was made by Iran Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Kalibaev, a former IRGC commander, and it's widely seen as largely symbolic, drawing on 2019 Iranian law used after the United States similarly blacklisted the guard. The EU's decision followed Iran's deadly crackdown on nationwide protests, with rights groups reporting widespread use of force by security agencies, including the IRGC. And now to the world of sport. Lagos State Sports Commission has taken a significant step in advancing its global sports agenda by entering into a strategic partnership with British Cycling. Speaking during the engagement, the Director General of the Commission, Lekan Fatodo, described the partnership as a deliberate and result-oriented initiative within the state's broader sports development strategy. This comes after the National Sports Commission also reached an agreement with the British Cycling Association to enable Nigerian cyclists train in Manchester ahead of the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Scotland. Osimhen reached a defining milestone, becoming a 200-goal forward at Galatasaray, his past Kisrepo in the Turkish Super League. The Nigerian striker doubted his side advantage in commanding performance, underlining his standing as one of the African's most prolific forward of his generation. The strike took him to 200 career goals for club and country, achieved across 336 senior appearances alongside 51 assists. South Africa's Minister of Sport, Gutton Maxey, has dismissed reports suggesting that the country has been confirmed as the new host of the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations. According to a statement, the minister stated that no formal decision has been taken to replace Morocco. Kenzie reaffirmed that Morocco remains the official host of the tournament, which is scheduled to kick off on March 17. And that's it on News Cycle. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Thanks for watching.